everyone. Welcome to Chapters. I'm Amy Deal, and my guest today is Casey Bond. Casey is a Roan Award-winning author who lives on a rural farm in West Virginia with her husband and their two beautiful daughters. She writes phoenixes, gloriously flawed and morally gray characters that fiercely rise from the ashes of their circumstances. She's a firm believer that every amazing book needs a world you want to wrap yourself in, a character you want to see win, and a love you would fight for. Welcome to Chapters, Casey.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm
I'm so
excited.
excited.
I know I'm so glad this worked out that we could do this.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I want to start off with talking about your writing process.
Okay.
Okay. So once you get the idea, the story for a book, what's your process? Like, do you plot the entire thing out? Do you develop all the characters first, or do you just sit down and start writing?
Usually I have a pretty firm idea of who my main characters are, what motivates them, their wounds, their pasts. I don't necessarily put that all down on paper. I do tend to keep like a notebook or a notepad, and just jot down ideas of everything, like what they look like, to like literal conversations between people that just come to me randomly. To like details of the world and how it works or the magic system or whatever.
Right.
But I don't necessarily like plot every single detail beforehand.
Uh-huh.
But sort of, I know that it's like all up here. So,
You're like
and
a
then,
hybrid
yeah,
plotter
I'm
and
kind of a
pantser.
pantser
You
plotter, but it's
yeah.
more like I took this course from Becca Syme called Write Better Faster,
Uh-huh.
and she did these personality tests called the Clifton Strengths.
Right.
And I learned that I'm very high in strategy. Like that's one of my main strengths.
Mhm.
And so she said, if you tend to be like on the pantser side of things, but you're a strategy, it's because you're actually plotting in your head. And I was like, I totally am. Because I,
Right.
I know how the stories are going to end. I know what the main plot points and how I'm going to get there. But I think I need that sort of flexible creativity to let the characters sort of play and develop on their own as well. Even
Uh-huh.
though I know what their main arc is, I like to have that freedom. That way, I don't know, I don't get bored with it. I
Right.
think that
Exactly.
that's part of the struggle though, as you figure out being a writer is like you have to figure out what works for you and how your mind works and what doesn't work is just as valuable. So
Right. People can give you suggestions, tell you how they do it, but as a writer, you just find what works for you.
it's a
Yeah.
beautiful process too. It's like it's fun how everything unfolds as you mature in your writing and your
Right.
skills. And I mean it's awesome. So
Right. You know that High Stakes is my favorite book, because vampires. But I'd say a very close second is Houses of Eclipses and House of Wolves.
thank you.
Both of those books are just really great books. They just come alive when you're reading them. And I think one of those reasons, and I've told you before, is I consider you to be a master world builder. When I read your stuff, I can picture, the world in my head that these people are interacting in. And I can, just envision it and sometimes picture myself there.
Yay, that's good. That's my goal.
It's amazing because, you don't get that a lot. And so, can you tell me how that process works for you, your world building? Do you do it the
Um,
same way every time or?
I tend to draw on things that I like. So for House of Eclipses and House of Wolves, for example, since you like those, like I've been obsessed with all things ancient Egypt since I was a kid. And
Uh-huh.
I love learning about
Same.
the history and the culture. And so I drew things from that culture, but sort of made twists and turns and made it fantasy and made it my own, but still kept it feeling like those Egyptian vibes. So it's just a matter the way I describe it is that when I write, I like to feel like I'm in the character's skin. And so if she's walking through the desert, I want to feel the sand, between her toes, and I want to feel the sun on her skin. I want to feel the heat. I want to feel what she's feeling. And so I want to feel like I'm her. So that's what I try to do. And that's how I try to world build. And I don't try to build this world on paper where I know every single detail and all these little things that don't really matter. I just try to go as the story goes and pick out like sensory things and things that I would probably notice if I were walking around in the world and what would be important in that moment and how it's moving my character forward and helping or hurting her. You know what I'm saying? So
Right, right.
I
Yeah.
just try to let it unfold kind of naturally and organically and try to capture as many little details. I don't want to bog down the reader, but the little details here and there can really like make the world, I think, feel real.
And another thing I love about your books are your covers.
Thank you. I
And
have an amazing graphic designer. Her name's Melissa Stevens, and I've been working with her since Riches to Rags, which I think is 2017.
yeah,
And she's incredible. And she and I just clicked immediately. I told her what I was thinking. She came back with exactly what I'd seen in my head. I can't draw stick people. Like I'm really bad at art. So when I can send her this scratchy whatever doodle and she comes back with like the most beautiful thing. So
yeah,
I'm like I'm in awe of her
you read
skill
my
and
mind. Do exactly what I wanted.
yeah, I'm fortunate
Yeah.
to work with some really great illustrators for like the hard case underneath the dust jacket, the hard case covers as well. They just bring the characters to life. So it's just been really fortunate to meet some great people that are very, very talented.
I know too that you are big into marketing yourself and your books.
I
I know
try.
you do
That's a
lots of
big battle, but yeah.
yes. And I know you just did the book, my favorite book, High Stakes. You just redid it and
hmm
said you because you do the sprayed edges.
Yeah.
And you said that you did it in like red because of course
Uh-huh.
vampires.
Yeah.
And
Like
so
red.
yeah, they always color coordinate, don't they? The sprayed edges,
Yes.
do they coordinate with the cover or something about the theme of the
Either
book?
the cover or like something fun about the book. Like I have in Gravebriar there her familiar is a poison dart frog. So
Yeah.
sometimes I'll do the edges like yellow with little black polka dots, you know, they're to mimic his pattern. So it's
Oh,
just something fun and something that has to do with the book or that matches the cover.
people
But
love them. I mean,
these
I
are
see
really
people,
fun.
yeah, I see people all the time on your Facebook, replying back and going, "Oh, I have to have this. Oh, I need that for my collection."
Yeah, it's fun.
And it is fun. Yes. Oh, can you tell us some about the book boxes that you do for some of your books?
Sure. So whenever I get ready to release a book, I always offer signed paperbacks, hardbacks, and sprayed edge hardbacks. But in addition, I release a limited number because I only have so much room in my house and it starts to take over, but of book boxes. And you've probably seen subscription boxes with a book and like some little items that go along with the story or artwork or whatever. So I make one of those for each of my books. And so I'm working on one right now that goes with the first Lost Boy. I did one for the last Lost Girl, and it had like all Neverland themed stuff, like little travel tags that go on your luggage that says "Take me to Neverland," and just little fun things that go with the book. Like the main character in that book is a lifeguard, so it had like a little lifeguard whistle and like lanyard thing, and just
Oh,
little things that go along with the story. And so people seem to really enjoy it. My readers, I don't tell them exactly what's in it because it's a surprise, but I'll tell them, you're getting, 8 or 9 goodies with this and artwork and the sprayed edge edition. So it's super fun and my readers seem to really love it
they
and they
do.
get pumped when the books arrive and they start doing unboxings and it's just like
Yes.
no, it's just like a little like surprise, like it's like a little gift to open. It's fun.
Right. I
It's
love the
something different.
unboxing videos. Those are like, they'll be so excited and then they'll gently open the box and, they'll start pulling things out and they'll show it and they just seem so excited that they have that.
And sometimes I'll do like a don't open this until page 100, 172 or something. And it's something
Right.
that specifically
Oh,
goes with like that scene,
oh,
that's
see,
fun.
see, oh my gosh. I would be like, I don't know that I can wait. I really want it. I have no patience. And
Yeah.
I always want to know what something
Yeah.
is. I would be like, oh, Casey, why are you doing this to me?
But this suspense makes it fun too.
They're like, why
So,
are you torturing me?
yeah.
So you just mentioned the last lost girl and the
Yep.
last lost boy.
Yep. First Lost
So
Boy.
first lost boy,
I
sorry.
know those titles, man, they get
First
me too.
lost, yeah. So yes. So tell us about
Yeah.
those. I know that's the series, right? The two books or
Yeah,
the
it's a duology, a duet, and it's basically like a retelling of Peter Pan, but it takes place in our world in our time, and it's this girl gets swept off to Neverland, and it starts meeting all these characters that we know and love, and they're not who we thought they were, and it's very scary.
mm,
She's got to figure out how to survive because everything on Neverland is deadly, so literally.
yes.
But it's really fun. I thought I like writing retellings every once in a while anyway, but I thought Peter Pan would be a really fun one because if you think of the original tale, I mean, he was like taking children from their homes. So I was
Yes.
like,
I
let's
mean, it
keep up
wasn't
with
a
it.
yeah, wasn't a
He's
good fairy
a
tale.
kidnapping kid. So I'm like, so I did. I took it to a kind of a dark place, but I love how the second book has played out and there are reasons that this is all happening, and we
Right.
we we figured that out in book two. So,
And
and
when
it was this
comes
one was
out
fun
when?
because I've never written an unreliable narrator before now, and so my girl is her
Ooh.
stat when your shadow gets stolen, your memories are tied to your shadows in these books, and so your memories are going like they're starting to, and you can't rely on yourself. You don't know what's happening, and you start losing time and memories and where what you're supposed to be doing and you lose sight of the goal. So she was really interesting to write because you've got all these like gears, working and she doesn't know what all's going on because her mind isn't right. So it
Uh,
was fun. It was a challenge, but it was really fun to write.
right. It's always nice to have a challenge to
Yeah.
just not keep it just the same. So, like I said, I know you do write a lot of duets and series
Mhm.
and stuff. Is it harder to write the follow-up books to the first one, or
It
is
can
it
be if I
challenging?
take too much like time in between.
Yes,
Like this summer, I sort of made that mistake and I took a little time off this summer, which I don't regret. I had a great summer. You know
right.
what I
Yes.
mean? Summertime is busy anywhere around here, and my kids, come first.
Mhm.
But I took some time off, and then I was like, I need to go reread what I wrote because I'm
Yes.
like, I'm not sure if I'm the reliable narrator, unreliable
I
for
might
my
be
kids.
more I might be more unreliable than she is at this
And it's
point.
not that I forgot the main points, but it's like those fine little threads. Like I need to make sure those go into book two and get tied up, So I
Right.
went, I definitely went back through with a fine tooth comb and tried to make sure I was tying everything up in book two. So,
Right.
it can be, but also like if you kind of, for me, like I need to stay in the world and stay in the character, and it just
Mhm.
helps me I consider it like one big story
Right.
even though it's separated into two, and even though the stories both have their own arcs, it is one overarching story. So it's kind of like as long as I can stay in that and stay in that zone and in that world and close to it, I don't have any trouble. The only trouble I have is when I take too long in between.
So, I do know that your book, several of them have been translated into other languages and are being sold in other countries. I mean,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. I
It's
mean,
so
that's just
crazy. It's like a pinch me thing because I like never imagined that would happen for me.
right.
And so
How did that come about?
I literally just got an email one day from an Italian publisher, and the agent for the publisher said that he had read When Wishes Bleed and that he really liked it, that they were interested in publishing the trilogy. And then I had a friend who was an attorney look over the contract, and everything seemed legit, so I signed it. So I brokered a few Italian deals with them and a Russian deal on my own. And then I got an email from a publisher that I couldn't really find anything about online. And I was kind of skeptical, like,
Yeah,
is this a scam? Because you got to be careful. You need to make sure that if anybody
oh,
contacts you about anything, that they're legit,
exactly.
especially these days.
Yes.
But they mentioned a specific literary agent that they'd been working with. So I just dropped her an email. I thought she may not email me back, but I'm going to try to see if she knows these people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I met Kimberly Brower. And she asked, how did this person get in touch with you? And I explained, just by email and stuff, and she explained that she represents people for foreign rights and asked me if I had ever, negotiated contracts myself, and I told her all the ones I had negotiated already for, and she
Right.
was like, "What? You've done all
What?
those yourself?" I was like, "Yeah." So she said, "What do you want? If you want to be represented, fill out this form. We'll look at everything, look at all your numbers, and then if we, would like think you're a good fit, then I'll get back with you." And she got back with me, and I've been represented by her ever since. And she's gotten me more deals, deals in French, a deal in Arabic, which is really
Oh, yeah.
exciting because, those books have to be vetted quite a bit. And I'm really
Yes.
fortunate that they chose Where Oceans Burn and Where Skies
Oh,
Fall for that. And
yes.
um, she's she's got a couple deals that I can't talk about yet,
Yeah.
but, that I'm really excited about. So,
Yeah.
and um, I've got Brazilian Portuguese translations, and it's
Um,
just so awesome. So that was a something I just didn't think would happen, and so when it did, I was really fortunate,
pleasantly
grateful,
surprised.
blessed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, do they send you a copy of the book that's in the other translation? And
Most of the contracts require that they send you at least a copy. Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah. That must just be something else to see your book.
Yeah,
You
it's awesome. So I have a few of them
probably
here that
can't read it, but
nope, but they're beautiful and it's really
but they're
neat.
beautiful. Do they keep the same cover that you have?
They can negotiate. They would have to purchase the cover from the graphic designer, the graphic
Right.
artist. So some have done that and some have made their own. So it just literally just
Just really
depends on if they
depends.
have an in-house, like some have in-house graphic designers that they just
Mhm.
use. And then some have been like, we have inside graphic designers, but we really love the original cover and feel like it fits. So can you give us your graphic designer's contact info? And then they contacted her and then purchased the artwork from her. So
Wow.
it's good for
So
her
she's
too.
getting to benefit from this too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome for both of you for sure.
Yeah. Really great.
Um, so do you have any readings or signings coming up this year that you're going to be at so people can
I
meet you?
do. I have a lot.
Yay.
I've got the first one it's like the first weekend of April and it's in Roanoke. It's
Okay.
called Authors Rock Roanoke and it's super
Oh,
fun. It's a smaller signing and you get lots more time to like talk to the authors and just get to hang out and it's very like family friendly and family
mhm.
oriented and like I said, it's just fun, like a cool day to just go hang out. And then the next weekend, I'm going to a Polycon. So it's the second weekend in April.
Oh, yeah.
And a Polycon is huge. It's very fun. It's a
Big.
lot of
Yes.
people. I have described it as a contact sport.
Yeah. I can see that.
It's big. And Jennifer Armentrout from Martinsburg, she owns and puts on a Polycon. And so I'm really glad to have been invited and to get to participate in that last few years. So I'm looking forward to this year.
Yep.
And then I'm going back to DC. Polycon's in DC, and then I'm going back to DC for Imaginarium Book
Oh,
Fair.
okay.
And it's held on the campus of, I think it's not, it might be the University of the District of Columbia, I think is where it's at.
Oh,
And so
wow.
it's a big like fantasy based signing as well. So I'm looking forward to that. And I haven't gone to that one before, but I'm really excited. It looks like it's getting pretty close to the size of a polygon. So that's exciting.
Wow.
And then
Yes.
I'll be going in November to the last Rebels and Readers that's here in Huntington. Last one, I think. So I'm excited about all that.
Yeah. And that's Rebels and Readers is how we first met.
Yep.
That was our very first introduction all those
Yep.
years ago was
I don't
there.
even remember what year, but yeah, it was like 2017, 2018,
Yeah, I mean it's been a
probably.
few years for sure.
Yeah.
And I was just so glad that I found your table and came up and
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
shy like I am that I actually talked to you, I'm so shy.
Same. Same, right?
Never talk to a stranger, but yeah.
No, that's great. And
Yeah,
she messaged me and said, "This is the last year we're going to do it. I want to really, bring something special to Huntington." And you were there at the beginning, so do you want to be there at the end? And I'm like, "Sure." So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Okay, so let's get to know Casey a little bit better,
Okay.
okay?
Okay,
All right,
this is scary. No, I'm kidding.
this is scary. Casey, get to know you better. All right, so when did you know that you wanted to be a writer?
Okay, so I started writing just because I didn't even read that much. And I started reading the Twilight books because I had watched the movies and wanted to know
Right?
how the story ended. So
Mm-hmm.
I literally started with Breaking Dawn. I didn't even read all the books.
Yeah. Well,
And so
skip
I
ahead.
started reading
I
these
mean,
and I'm like, this is so good. And I was telling my mom, like, I love these stories. This is so fun. And how I'd watched them and now read all these and was obsessed and waiting for the other movies to come out. And she was like, you have always loved to write. There's no reason you can't do that. And I was just like, you're right. There's no reason I can't do that. So
exactly.
at least try. So I did. I just tried. And my first few books were probably pretty shaky as many first
Yep.
debuts are, but
Yep.
I learned through with everything you write, you're going to learn. And
Exactly.
you're going to develop skills that you didn't have with the book before. And you're just going to develop as a writer and with your voice and how you do things like we were saying like you find what works for you and I don't know, I just like fell in love with it though. And at first I thought this would be a cool hobby. And then the hobby turned into a lot more. And I developed a passion for story and just crafting characters that I just really love
Yeah,
and to win.
exactly. I love because you take the fairy tales and you like twist them and give them a whole different perspective and kind of sometimes a dark angle. And I love that.
I think it's fun. I think it's fun
It
to
is.
take things that are familiar and make them exciting and new.
Right. Yeah.
Or things that like we were talking about like the cultures that we love to learn about and bring them to life in a different way. So
Hmm.
I just love it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you picked it up and started doing it. Very good. All right. So what do you like to do when you're not writing? I know the girls take up a lot of fun time. They
Yeah,
give you
I
a lot
mom a
of fun time.
lot.
Yeah.
I mom a lot, but I like to go. I've been walking a lot with friends and
Mhm.
I like to go swimming in summer. I'm a complete like I like sunny weather.
Yeah.
So I like to be out in the sunshine. I love water. I love the beach. I like to make hand stamped jewelry and I like to
Oh,
read
so
and listen
pretty.
to audiobooks and music and I don't know, I guess just like everything. So
So, if you could choose three people from your books to have a dinner party with, who would you invite and why? People love
okay.
people love the answers to the answer to these questions.
Okay, my very first thought was Alira because she's from Where Oceans Burn and she's a warrior of the sky. And I just think that she would bring like this serious like ferocity to the table that
Exactly. Everybody would be on
kind of
their best
funny.
behavior.
And then Sable from When Wishes Bleed because she's magical. And I don't know, she's fun, but she's also creepy and I just love her.
Yes, yes.
And then thirdly, who am I bringing? Uh, I would say. And this is like anybody, right?
Yeah, anybody.
Let's go with Liv from With Shield and Ink and Bone because she's also really fierce. She's a
Yeah.
Viking warrior. I
Oh,
would love to
wow.
see those three women like have a conversation.
That would be very interesting.
It would be
Yes,
because they're
yes.
all very strong in their own, selves, but they also have senses of humor. And I don't know. I just think that would be fun.
I think it would be fun to see them interact with each other. Be a little like intimidating at first and a little
Uh-huh.
awkward, but then I think once the conversation got going, those three
Oh
would
yeah.
definitely,
I think it
yeah.
would be a good time in the
By
end.
the end of the evening, they'd be making plans to go, have dinner
Yeah.
again, I think.
Yeah, for sure. That was a fun question.
Yeah, I know everybody loves that one, and they love. I get messages from readers all the time when they read my column, and I put that in there. They're like, "That's really good. That's a really good answer," and I like that character too. I'd have them at my,
Aw.
table. So it's like it's fun. Um,
Yeah.
so who do you have a favorite author?
Oh, yes. I have several favorite authors.
Mhm. I thought,
But
yeah,
Holly Black is probably number one.
I know. Yeah, I remember now. You love her, so
Yeah, I love the Folk of the Air series. I've got several copies. Obsessed with it. I love the Cruel Prince. It's just it hooked me, and then the rest of the series is great too. But I was just like, I fell in love with her writing with that book, and I've never read a Holly Black book that I have not, fallen in love with. So,
right.
I also like Rebecca Ross. She has
Mhm.
very lyrical, beautiful writing. If you've never read her, she's incredible. And then Rebecca Yaros's Fourth Wing
Yes,
series, I'm currently obsessed with because it's so fun and fast paced, and I don't know. I love how she it makes this big cast of characters with all these cool like personality
yes.
traits and brings personality traits to the dragons and their banter's great. It's just very entertaining for me.
And
So I love
she gets so excited about her
yes.
books and her writing. You can tell that she just loves it. And when something happens, with her books or with herself or whatever, you can tell she's just genuinely so excited, that it's
Yes.
happening.
And
So,
she's a sweet person. Like I've signed with her at events and she's
oh
just a
wow.
nice person.
Yeah,
And so I don't think that this success could have happened like to a nicer person. I love seeing like people who are indie authors make it like huge like this. Like this is next
exactly.
level like Sarah J. Maas stuff that's going on right now with her and I just love seeing it.
Yeah,
So I think that's great.
awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
so final question. What
Yep.
are you currently reading? If I
What
were
am
to
I
show up at the
reading?
farm, what books would I find you to be reading?
I just finished Onyx Storm, of course.
Ooh, okay.
And I just finished Chloe Pinuranda's The Stars Are Dying, which is
Okay.
really good.
Have to check that one out.
Really good. But those are the last couple that I've read and I've really enjoyed. I loved, if you're looking for a book, When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. It's very unique world building. And I think, Amy, I think you'd love it. But it's really, really cool. I think you'd like it a lot. And I think most of the readers would too. If you like big world building and fun characters and dragons and things, it's really fun.
I am all for a good dragon. I like it.
It's very different than like Fourth Wing. It's really neat. Yeah.
Neat one. Okay, cool. I'll definitely check that one out.
Yeah.
Casey, as always, I love talking to you. I appreciate you
Thank
doing this.
Of
And
course.
yes, can't wait to see you in person again so I can get one
Yes,
of
I
those Casey
know.
hugs. I
It's
know. So
been too long.
it has been way too long. So
Yep.
yes, so we'll definitely have to make that happen for sure.
Yep.
All right, and I really appreciate it. And your website, if anybody wants, is authorcaseybond.com, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. All right, so I'm sure people are going to be going and checking out these books because I can't highly recommend them enough. So
Thank you. I appreciate you too,
no
Amy.
problem. I adore you. You know that. And thank you to the viewers for tuning into this episode of Chapters, and I will talk to you the next time.